Welcome to the one and only Resto Druid RBG guide. I'm Gulahig, and let's dive right into this. In this video, we will be discussing the Resto Druid talents and honor talents. Next, we will be discussing the artifact ability along with the artifact traits. Then, we will dive into some gameplay to demonstrate how I use key abilities and cooldowns. Let's begin with the Resto Druid talents. In the first tier, the level 15 tier, we have Prosperity, Cenarian Ward, and Abundance. Prosperity grants 2 charges of Swiftmend and reduces the cooldown of Swiftmend by 3 seconds. Cenarian Ward applies a hot to the target to heal them for 8 seconds after the next time they take damage. Abundance reduces the cast time of Healing Touch and increases the critical strike chance of regrowth per active rejuve. In the level 15 tier, I choose Prosperity to take the benefits of Soul of the Forest, which I will explain later. In the level 30 tier, we have Renewal, Displaces Beast, and Wild Charge. Renewal heals the Druid for 30% of maximum health while being on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Displaces Beast allows the Druid to blink forward at 20 yards and increases movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds after the Displacers. This is on a 30-second cooldown. Wild Charge is unplayable, do not use it in the current meta. I use Displaces Beast to allow me to have a blink as a Resto Druid. Renewal is just not strong enough on the 1.5 minute cooldown. In the level 45 tier, we have Balance Affinity, Feral Affinity, and Guardian Affinity. Balance Affinity increases the range of all spells by 5 yards. This is the only beneficial stat of Balance Affinity for Resto Druids. Feral Affinity is not usable, do not use it in the current meta. Guardian Affinity decreases all damage taken by 6% and grants the ability Frenzied Regeneration. In this tier, I like to take Guardian Affinity for the damage decrease and the Frenzied Regeneration. In the level 60 tier, we have Mighty Bash, Mass Entanglement, and Typhoon. Mighty Bash stuns the target for 5 seconds and is castable in all forms. Mighty Bash is also on a 50-second cooldown. Mass Entanglement casts entangling roots on multiple targets until broken by damage. Mass Entanglement is on a 30-second cooldown. Typhoon knocks the enemies back and slows the enemies, castable in all forms. Typhoon is on a 30-second cooldown. In this tier, I like to take Mass Entanglement because all other classes have stuns and roots are very important. In the level 75 tier, we have Soul of the Forest, Incarnation, and Cultivation. Soul of the Forest increases the healing of your next regrowth or rejuve by 200% after casting Swiftmend, or it increases the healing of your next wild growth by 75% after your next Swiftmend. Incarnation increases healing done by 15% and increases armor by 120%. This also affects many of your spells. This is on a 3-minute cooldown, along with lasting 30 seconds. Cultivation is not used in the current meta, there is too much damage. Out of this tier, I like to take Soul of the Forest. It complements Prosperity very well. I only use the procs on Wild Growth in every team fight. In the level 90 tier, there's only one usable spell, and that is Germination. Germination allows a second rejuve to be applied onto the targets. In the level 100 tier, we have Moment of Clarity, Stonebark, and Flourish. Moment of Clarity is never taken because you are never casting in rated battlegrounds. Stonebark reduces the cooldown of Ironbark by 30 seconds and increases all healing over time effects on the target by 20%. Flourish extends all healing over time effects by 6 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. Out of this tier, I like to take Stonebark to decrease damage on a flag carrier or somebody that's just being focused. Now let's move on to honor talents. In the first tier, we have Gladiator's Medallion, Adaptation, and Relentless. Gladiator's Medallion is basically a 2-minute trinket. Adaptation is not currently played in the meta. Relentless decreases the incoming crowd control effects by 20%. This replaces Honorable Medallion, and this is what I currently take because I am able to shapeshift into bear form before being attacked. In the second tier, we have Defender of the Weak, Vim and Vigor, and Inner Renewal. Defender of the Weak increases haste by 20% for 5 seconds after healing a target below 50% HP. Vim and Vigor increases all healing done by 20% while above 80% HP. Inner Renewal is not used in the current meta. Out of this tier, I like to take Vim and Vigor because it increases all healing by 20%. As long as I can keep myself above 80%, this is very beneficial. In the third tier, we have Disentanglement, Thorns, and Druid the Claw. Disentanglement nor Thorns are currently used in the meta. This only leaves Druid the Claw to be used. Druid the Claw reduces the chance of being critically hit by 10% while in bear form. In addition, you have a 10% chance to gain Rejuve while being meleeed in bear form. This is the only playable talent at this tier. In the fourth tier, we have Cyclone, Encroaching Vines, and Deep Roots. The only playable talent out of these three is Cyclone. It's too good to pass up. Cyclone traps the enemy in the air for 6 seconds, not allowing them to attack or to be attacked. This is a must-have for any Resto Druid, and is far superior to Encroaching Vines or Deep Roots. In the fifth tier, we have Fortified Bark, Nourish, and Revitalize. Revitalize is the only talent you can take out of these three. Revitalize heals the target after being critically hit by a melee hit. In addition, Rejuve is refreshed. In the sixth and final tier, we have Focus Growth, Early Spring, and Overgrowth. The only playable spell out of these three is Early Spring. Early Spring makes your Wild Growth an instant cast. This is too good to pass up for either Focus Growth or Overgrowth. Now, let's go over the artifact ability and the artifact traits. Your artifact ability increases all healing by 100% for 8 seconds of every hot you have on the targets. Now we'll go over the three main golden traits. The first golden trait, Dreamwalker, grants Wild Growth a 50% chance to instantly heal the target's effective with your Rejuve after you cast Wild Growth. Next, let's move on to Tranquil Mind. Tranquil Mind increases all healing done by Tranquility by 20%, and it is castable while moving now. Lastly, we have Power of the Archdruid. Wild Growth has a 25% chance to cause your next Rejuve or Regrowth to also apply to 2 additional targets. This works in 2 separate ways. With the Rejuve, it applies Rejuve to all 3 targets, simply said. But with Regrowth, it casts the Regrowth, has the healing of the Regrowth, and the hot on all 3 targets. The pathing I would recommend is try to get Dreamwalker first. This includes going through Groovewalker, Nature's Essence, and Essence of Him. Next, I would attempt to get Tranquil Mind. By doing this, I would just get Armor of the Ancients and Blessing of the World Tree, and you're there. After getting Tranquil Mind, I would move on to getting Power of the Archdruid by going through Infusion of Nature, Persistence, and Knowledge of the Ancients. After getting all 3 golden traits, I would proceed to get Natural Mending, Mark of the Shifting, Seeds of the World Tree, and then Blooms of Him, or Her. After getting your entire tree filled up, you get the 4th golden. This increases all healing done by a certain percentage, starting at 5% and going up to 15%. Now in this first team fight, we're at Temple of Katmogu. My team is pushing up to fight over the Berserker. And as you can see, we're not taking very much damage right now. Most of their team's not here. Here's where we begin to take damage. I'm waiting for my Wild Growth to come back off cooldown so I can Swift Mend Wild Growth to get the bonus healing. I also use my weapon ability to increase all healing by 100%. Here I throw up a few spot heals on the Priest and the Demon Hunter. As soon as the melee hop on me, I instantly go into bear form to reduce all damage taken. Now I'm trying to keep our flag carrier up while keeping the rest of the team up too, so I throw out a few more spot heals. None of the melee are on me, so I instantly trank. This ensures everybody will stay alive. And now we just clean up the DK, and we demolish that team fight. Now in this team fight in Twin Peaks, we just killed off the flag carrier, and we're pushing up to clean up the rest of their team. I cycloned a Resto Druid to stop any healing output from him. Now my Resto Shaman is pushing forward to help me heal, so I don't have to worry about spot healing too much. Our lock begins to take a lot of damage here, so I do throw up a few more hots on him and use my weapon. I'm also throwing up regrowths to spot heal to help out my Shaman a little bit. Now I'm just trying to manage the healing and keep everybody topped off. Here I use a regrowth, just to ensure that nobody is taking any damage. Now here this rogue drops really low, but I'm able to keep him up with a Swiftman rejuve into an Iron Bark. Now that the entire team is topped off, I try to pick up this hunter a little bit, and we move up the ramp. I throw down a vortex here, to ensure nobody can escape. I also push up where a Cyclone was Resto Druid, but he instantly blinks away, so I'll just Cyclone the Priest instead. So now this team fight's basically over, the Resto Druid is running, and we're just cleaning up the DPS, and we'll clean up this Disc Priest as well. So now we're moving on to a team fight in Eye of the Storm. My Demon Hunter is pushed up very far. Iron Bark him, try to save him from the Gary Pyros, but it's not happening. Now I'm overextended. So the first thing that goes through my mind is try to get away as fast as possible by blinking, using Displacer's Beast. I get back far enough and my Holy Paladin picks me back up. But now the melee are pushing in onto us, so I put on a Wild Shroom to try to keep us alive. Here I'm just spot healing on this Priest a little bit, throwing up a few rejuves, regrowthing a few times, and I'm trying to keep the Rogue up, along with the Holy Paladin. I Wild Growth here to try to top everybody off. Now a Demon Hunter jumps in, and he has full cooldowns rolling, so I know it's a lot of damage coming in. So here I just Trank to counteract all of that damage. Now here, the team fight is almost over. We're cleaning up the few melee that overextended, but I see this mage is still just spamming Greater Pyro. So I move up for a CC on him, but my warrior begins to die rather quickly, so I have to heal him instead. Now we cut to another clip in the same Eye of the Storm, a little bit later in the battle. I instantly move up to try to CC the healers. Try to be aggressive as a Resto Druid since you have Cyclone. It's a very good CC. There was a rogue and a warrior on me, so I instantly go into bear form. Now here I see that the mage is just casting pyros and the monk is being focused, so I'm not focused on trying to CC the monk now. I top everybody up with a Wild Growth. And here I move on to Cyclone the mage's trinket that he used. I'll Cyclone right out of that imprisonment to make sure that he is locked down. And now we're basically cleaning up this team fight, but then they spawn again, so another team fight erupts. I see that the rogue is on one of my healers, so I Cyclone him to prevent any damage. He reopens for some reason, so I just Cyclone him again. Now we're moving up. I see that there's a Resto Druid, but he's being focused rather hard, so I don't want to Cyclone him. I see Greater Pyros being casted, so I'm moving for a CC on him, but the Shadow Priest is bursting him down. Now we're just cleaning up the team fight, and that team fight was rather easy. Just make sure to keep Wild Growths up whenever you need them, and Cyclone anybody on your other healers. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like down below if anything in this video was helpful at all. Subscribe and comment if I missed anything or if you have any more questions.